So for our first performance, I feel like I did fairly well. I didn't really get anything wrong as such, but I also didn't do as well as I maybe could have. I was quite quiet for a few bits, for a few of my lines, and I feel like potentially some people may have lost them a little bit. Um, After our first performance, we had a whole discussion about what went wrong and what happened. So a few people got some of the characters' names wrong, which is quite a big thing, just because then the year 11s might not fully understand and get confused. Um, I think the main thing brought up for me was just that my energy was quite low, but I feel like that was kind of how it was across the board. Just because it was our first time facilitating, I personally feel like my facilitation wasn't amazing, but I feel like I've learned a lot more from this first one that our second performance it will be a lot better. Um, After that, we had quite a few changes, so we realised from facilitation that for Act 2, Scene 2, with our quotes that we were identifying, um, just just kind of identifying one was a bit too easy for some people. Despite having our bonus quote as well, some of the quotes are quite easy to spot and it was done very quickly. So for me personally, my group, we had the hardest quote to spot. So it took the entire kind of discussion time to find it. But then for some other groups, it was really easy. So to equal that out, we decided to change it that all the groups could look for all the quotes, but our feedback would just be for one of the quotes, the quote that we originally had anyway. We also changed the way that we feedback as well, because as a fake student, I found it really hard because it meant that I had to find someone that knew what they were talking about. So then through the feedback, I could then refer to them. But then all the people that I found weren't amazing, whether that be down to me not getting the answers out of them or them not fully understanding. Um, but I feel like it was quite a lot of pressure on me, especially if they didn't want to feed back to the rest of the room. Um, I didn't really know what to do at that point, and I just kind of had to make it up as I went along. So we decided to change it. So instead of that happening, I could, so me and the other facilitators for my section would all kind of get together, and they'd tell me if they found someone that was good. So then when the main facilitator on stage asked me as a fake student if I found anything, I'd then refer them to some other people if they found them, and then we'd finally feedback. So especially for Act 1, Scene 7, the mixing desk one, it was quite useful because then if it was like two people's different interpretations, I'd then go for the middle of it and kind of explain why. So being like, oh, this person said this, but this person said this, so I'm going to go here instead. I feel like this definitely helped a lot. It took the pressure off me trying to find someone that was good, and it meant that I could kind of focus more on the actual discussions and kind of getting them to understand rather than getting the right answer out of them. So that was definitely really helpful for me. Like in the second performance, I feel like it went a lot better just because of this main thing. There were a few other very little changes that we made, so changing a few of the ways that we said things, just to make it a bit more obvious, changing a few of the positions we were in. The ending changed as well, so instead of multiple people saying the same things at once, which made it quite confusing, it was just the three fake students all saying one thing each at the end, which is just giving them advice for exams and stuff. But that worked better as well. So I think overall, my first performance, it wasn't amazing, but it was nothing to kind of cry over, I guess. It wasn't terrible. But the changes definitely helped. I feel like they were definitely needed as well, as because it made it a lot easier for all of us, I guess, and we could focus a lot more on the discussions than the feedback afterwards.